Now, what I say is fuck all you bottom feeders. All you motherfuckers, we giving you the content. Whether you disrespecting the gods, right? You disrespecting the gods.
So Fat Joe is being sued currently for $20 million by a former hype man who claims that Fat Joe engaged in sexual acts with minors and coerced him as the hype man to engage in various sexual acts.
So in the same way,
anybody that worked for you, helped you in any type of way do some illegal shit, then, I mean, I think I learned that from the Puff case.
Puff case.
The news dropped like a bomb in the entertainment world. Fat Joe, the Bronx-born rap legend, hit with a jaw-dropping $20 million lawsuit. His longtime hype man, Terrence T.A. Dixon, the guy who's been standing beside him, hyping him up at shows for over a decade, suddenly flipped the script. Dixon filed legal papers accusing Fat Joe of things nobody saw coming: sexual exploitation, manipulation, and financial abuse. It's not small-time accusations either. Dixon claims he was forced into thousands of degrading acts, all to keep his place in the rapper's inner circle. The $20 million lawsuit isn't just about money. It's packed with disturbing claims that shook up fans and the industry alike. Terrence Dixon isn't some random outsider trying to cash in. He's been in Fat Joe's orbit for nearly 16 years, traveling with him, hyping up the crowd, basically part of the stage show that kept Fat Joe's brand alive. That's what made the lawsuit even more shocking. This wasn't just some distant acquaintance with a grudge. This was someone from inside the camp, someone who knew the routines, the lifestyle, the private spaces most fans never get to see. Dixon's legal complaint didn't hold back. He laid out details of alleged exploitation, saying his loyalty to Fat Joe was twisted into a tool for control. The accusations paint a picture where fear, dependency, and manipulation replaced friendship and trust.
But it's looking very similar to the Sean Combs case in that it could spur on a criminal investigation.
Dixon's lawsuit also spells out the emotional and financial damage he claims to have suffered. He's asking for $20 million to cover unpaid performance wages, stolen royalties, lost revenue, and emotional distress. He also added physical injuries to the list, saying the years working under Fat Joe didn't just mess with his mental health, they left him physically impacted too. What makes this lawsuit different from typical celebrity lawsuits is how personal and detailed the claims are. It's not vague legal threats. Dixon is coming with years of history, specific allegations, and a number that made everyone stop and pay attention.
Sexual manipulation, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion, end quote.
As soon as the lawsuit hit the headlines, the reaction was instant. Social media blew up, blogs and news outlets scrambled to cover the story, and fans were left confused and divided. Some couldn't believe the accusations, defending Fat Joe based on his decades in the spotlight without scandals this extreme.
Than anybody. These guys been doing blogs with 3 followers. They like, yo, these guys got sponsors. These guys is...
Others were more skeptical, saying the lawsuit had too many specifics to ignore. The entertainment world thrives on drama, but this wasn't your usual celebrity feud. It was deeper, uglier, and the kind of headline that doesn't fade away quickly. For people who only know Fat Joe was the guy behind the iconic tracks like Lean Back or All the Way Up.
Top shotter, yeah, I keep a few things. Champion sound, yeah, I got a few rings and I'm all the way up.
These allegations seem completely out of place. His real name is Joseph Antonio Cartagena, a name that's been part of the hip-hop scene since the early 90s. Born and raised in the Bronx, Fat Joe came up in the dusty streets of New York and built a reputation as one of the key voices representing Latino culture and rap. Over the years, his career has seen highs like chart-topping songs, major collaborations, and respect from the music community, especially for his ability to stay relevant across generations. Before this lawsuit exploded, Fat Joe's reputation was complicated but mostly positive. Sure, there were always critics. The music industry never forgets old rivalries or controversies.
When I was like, yo, 50 said this, and then he came back and dissed me. But you had my back.
Well, I knew Five. Me and Five always had a great relationship.
But compared to many of his peers, Fat Joe managed to sidestep major scandals in recent years. His name was more connected to philanthropy, interviews, podcasts, and cultural commentary than to courtroom drama. He positioned himself as one of the wise, experienced voices in hip-hop, someone who's been around, seen it all, and evolved from the street battles of the 90s to the business moves of today. That's why the lawsuit felt like such a curveball. One minute, Fat Joe's showing up to podcast interviews, reflecting on his career, giving motivational advice, and celebrating his role as a veteran in the rap world. The next minute, his name is plastered across headlines for allegations of abuse and exploitation. For many fans, it created a disconnect. The same guy telling stories about overcoming adversity is now accused of controlling and degrading the people closest to him, with one of those people asking the courts to pay him $20 million for the damage allegedly done.
Cartagena actually sued Dixon back in April on allegations that, as a former employee, he was trying to extort him for money.
One of the most extreme claims is that Dixon was forced to perform over 4,000 sexual acts over the years just to hold on to his role. He paints a picture of an environment where every so-called loyal test was degrading, humiliating, and designed to break him down emotionally. According to Dixon, it wasn't about genuine trust or respect. It was about keeping him dependent, scared, and willing to obey at all costs. The allegations don't stop there. Dixon claims that when he finally pushed back, refusing to take part in one of those acts, the punishment was immediate. He says his travel plans were canceled abruptly, leaving him stranded in a foreign country with no resources, no backup, and no way home.
Canceled, and he was stranded in a foreign country without any money after refusing to participate in a sex act.
That moment, according to Dixon, wasn't just a random incident. It was a warning, a clear message that refusal meant consequences. The level of fear, he says, was what kept him trapped in this cycle for years. Financial exploitation is another major part in Dixon's case. He's not just talking about emotional trauma. He's pointing to unpaid labor that spanned across songwriting, tour management, and even security duties. Work he claims he did without proper pay, all because he was made to believe that rocking the boat or speaking up would cost him everything. For 16 years, Dixon was seen by the public as part of Fat Joe's trusted crew, but behind the scenes, he says that trust was a facade, hiding manipulation, control, and abuse. Whether the courts agree is still to be seen, but the lawsuit has already put everything under a harsh spotlight. And this wasn't enough, so things got even darker when Dixon dropped the most disturbing claim of all, that he personally witnessed Fat Joe having relations with minors, some as young as 15 and 16 years old. That accusation instantly escalated the lawsuit from a personal dispute to something with potentially massive legal consequences. It wasn't just about control or unpaid labor anymore. Now, the allegations were touching serious criminal territory. Child exploitation claims always strike differently, and the moment those details surfaced, the public's reaction was explosive. Social media immediately lit up with opinions. Some people were ready to cancel Fat Joe on the spot, while others warned against jumping to conclusions. Still, the mere presence of child exploitation claims turned this entire lawsuit into a ticking time bomb. Even if the other accusations were disputed, the underage element made it impossible to dismiss the case as just an angry ex-employee trying to stir drama. Suddenly, everyone, fans, media, even industry insiders, wanted to know what was real, what was exaggerated, and what might land Fat Joe in even deeper trouble.
He says, I've been tested these last few months. I've lost my big brother, my father, my mother, and now I'm fighting against these disgusting lies. But please know I will not break and I will never back down.
But Fat Joe's side frames it as textbook retaliation. They say Dixon isn't a victim. He's a disgruntled ex-employee who got caught trying to extort his way into a payday. Fat Joe's legal team has made it clear they're not backing down, and they're ready to expose what they believe is a fraudulent campaign to tear him down. Fat Joe isn't just defending himself in court, he's going on the defensive. His team has filed their own lawsuit, targeting Dixon's lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, accusing him of orchestrating an entire smear campaign to destroy Fat Joe's reputation. According to Fat Joe's legal team, Blackburn wasn't just representing a client, he was allegedly masterminding a plan to drag Fat Joe's name through the mud and squeeze money out of him. They're claiming this whole situation isn't just some moral stand for justice. It's calculated, built on false claims, and fueled by personal grudges.
And then I know what it is, because as much as they see people happy for you, that shit makes the hate cancer spread even more.
In their version of events, Dixon is being painted as a bitter former employee who couldn't handle being cut off. Fat Joe's camp says Dixon is digging up false accusations from over 15 years ago, trying to make them stick in court because he's got nothing else left. They're calling it desperation mixed with revenge, and they're not holding back in saying it publicly. For them, it's all part of the same pattern they've seen before. An angry ex-employee feeling entitled, turning to legal threats when things don't go their way. Behind the scenes, Fat Joe's team is using aggressive legal tactics to control the damage. They're not just responding to media stories, they're filing countersuits, issuing statements, and working overtime to reshape the narrative in Joe's favor.
Copina says we didn't just sue a disgruntled former employee trying to revive a false claim from 15 years ago. We sued the lawyer behind it all.
It's a messy legal chess game, and both sides are playing hard. Fat Joe's people are determined to flip this scandal back onto Dixon and his lawyer, reframing them as the ones pulling the strings behind the controversy. But outside the courtroom, the media isn't buying one version of the story entirely. But who's actually telling the truth? And how is this all going to end? Well, only time will tell. So if you want to stay in the loop, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.